talk about white supremacy and what happened last night for a moment, because when you were talking to reporters last night, you called white supremacy a myth. When someone asked you about Dylan Roof, you said you didn't know who that is. Have you looked up what happened in 2015?
Yeah, look, I said this last night. Invidious racial discrimination is wrong no matter how it happens. But if a Washington Post reporter is asking me almost like a catechism, whatever question I said, I'm against invidious racial discrimination, whatever form it takes, but says, do you denounce white supremacy? It's incumbent on us for us to define what white supremacy is. I wrote my book, Woke Inc., and I've written about the detailed understanding of what the popular understanding of these terms have come to mean. Do you believe punctuality is a vestige of white supremacy, Dasha?
Look,
because if you don't, then you have a disagreement about many of the people who are defining those terms, or the written word, or the use, or the nuclear family. These aren't my words. These are the words of intellectual proponents from Ibram Kendi to the Ayanna Presleys to BLM that have said these are vestiges of white supremacy.
Yeah, her punctuality,
proper English.
Hey,
I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Being
Why
punctual.
did this man is able to articulate?
On time.
It's actually like the craziest I might have ever
he's
seen
one
in
of the
my
best
entire life.
articulators I've ever seen.
Now I've heard a lot of people spit out some shit like
He got that
thought he
big
was
ass
just
head that he got a lot going on in there.
They thought he was one of the people that just spit out a lot
It's
of
a
shit.
lot in there, bro.
That's not saying nothing, but everything he is saying, he's actually saying something. That's what.
No,
fucks me
facts.
up.
He doesn't stutter at all.
You ever saw the cartoon when the cranes be cranking in the head?
Bro, you know who he look like? Never mind, bro. He look like a darker Jimmy Neutron. That's why he's so smart, bro. Jimmy Neutron was smart as hell, bro. I'm just playing, bro. You know,
No, he does not, bro. No, he
that's
does.
my homie.
I know, bro. You can roast the
Josie,
homie.
I'm a roast
You can roast the homie.
I'm a roast.
Nah, he actually does like a.
I'm a roast. We got Bow Wow, DK Metcalf,
It's
and
alright, bro.
Brunson
It's
right
alright. No,
here.
he does look like Jimmy Neutron. He does. It's actually funny as fuck.
That's why he's so smart, bro. Jimmy Neutron for president. Well, 10 times out of 10.
Where's
I
Carl?
ain't gonna lie. He said so much. Let's just back him out.
Let's talk about white supremacy and what happened last night for a moment, because when you were talking to reporters last night, you called white supremacy a myth. When someone asked you about Dylan Roof, you said you didn't know who that is. Have you looked up what happened in 2015?
Yeah, look, I said this last night. Invidious racial discrimination is wrong no matter how it happens. But if a Washington Post reporter is asking me almost like a catechism, whatever question I said, I'm against invidious racial discrimination, whatever form it takes, but says, do you denounce white supremacy? It's incumbent on us for us to define what white supremacy is. I wrote my book, Woke Inc., and I've written about the detailed understanding of what the popular understanding of these terms have come to mean. Do you believe punctuality is a vestige of white supremacy, Dasha?
Look,
because if you don't, then you have a disagreement about many of the people who are defining those terms, or the written word, or the use, or the nuclear family. These aren't my words. These are the words of intellectual proponents from Ibram Kendi to the Ayanna Presleys to BLM that have said these are vestiges of white supracy. So
Mr.
we
Ramaswamy,
can't have it both
this
ways.
is what you do, though.
We have to have an honest
you
discussion.
Straw man arguments.
This is not a straw man.
You
This is
brought
not
up
a straw
Jussie
man.
Smollett as the best
Jussie
example
Smollett
of white
was the hottest thing in
supremacy.
news in the back of a fake actual attack on him that we have to contend with.
And yet you have examples like the
federal law
Buffalo
enforcement's
shooter
data.
in New York just in
Cherry-picked.
2022.
You have other
but
examples.
you are also cherry picking when you bring up Jussie
So I'll
Smollett.
look at all the
so
statistics.
upset.
More
She
black
sounds
on
very
black
shrill.
crime. If you really care about it,
What the?
She's getting very shrill.
Did the Buffalo shooter have to do with anything?
Hey,
She's saying that's an example of white supremacy.
I be feeling bad when any woman stand up.
I think that's
What
an
happened in
example
that
of
case?
mental
A
health.
white dude came in the
problems.
store and he shot a bunch of people. He said he was trying to shoot black people, I believe.
That is a racist mental health problem. He racist with
that
mental
it's
health.
white supremacy. What I'm gonna
I
say
wouldn't
is
say
though,
that.
okay, I did watch the Jeffrey Epstein Netflix the other day.
You watched
And-
it?
Yeah, I watched
You
it.
damn creep.
So look,
Yeah, we
now,
watched it last night. It was crazy.
Okay, but look
It
though,
was
how he
insane.
got rich was actually insane.
Jeffrey
a
Epstein.
form-
I was thinking
look though,
Jeffrey
look though,
Dahmer.
That was in the 80s though. That was a form of white supremacy. So, and I would say from 2000
Really?
under, that was a form of white supremacy. We both said that. Can a black man do that?
No, he did the context on what Solomon is saying is he went to a place and lied about his education.
Yeah.
And they ended up letting him stay because he was really good at his job.
Oh yeah, that
rather
was-
than
yeah,
firing
yeah,
him.
Yeah.
And this was in like the 70s.
They
or
would have
80s.
said,
And
nigga.
then he met another guy. He got rich off Wall Street. Actually, that's what's insane.
Yeah, he was working at a stocks and bonds
Yeah, I think
company.
that's a
And he was
fair
doing really
statement.
good. And then
But
he
in
went to another
2023?
company.
He went
where
to the
was
guy
working-
named Wesley, huh? Abercrombie?
I don't remember his name.
Yeah. So yeah, he went to a guy and they got really cool. And for somehow
He was handling that guy's money.
Not 46.
He was handling the guy that
Yeah.
owns Abercrombie, Victoria's Secret, and the store called something. He was handling his money, and he was stealing money from him. But he was in a company that was a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
And the CEO of the company got caught, and it's a long story.
The
It doesn't
Ponzi scheme,
matter.
the same thing that the Wolf of Wall Street guy was talking about. So
The
he
Ponzi
basically was
scheme
crazy.
is different.
Yeah. But the Wolf of Wall Street guy said how it was the good guys, bad guys. He was on the bad guy side. So he end up finessing like 46 million from that guy.
Oh my God.
Might put it in the stock market. But that we're saying is from 2000 probably under, it was probably maybe 1990 or maybe 1995. It was a white supremacy for sure, I would say. Because, you know, a black guy couldn't have done that.
Yeah, I would say it used to exist for sure.
I think it was definitely
in the times we're living in now.
It's definitely, that's all he said. And they're still bringing this up.
I think our nation has come a long way. Like, I believe when affirmative action was originally introduced, it was probably to help black people get jobs, and not just black people, people of color and women to get jobs, because they benefited the most, people of color and women. So I believe in the times we live in today, though, women and people of color are capable of getting jobs on their own merit. I think back in the day, it was probably a completely different story.
Because more white people are in a different, like, higher positions than what black people are. Now, today's society, like, they already debunked this. Like, I forgot who did it. Larry Elder. He said it's a black president, a black this, a black that, a black that. So it's no white supremacy because black people can be in these great positions, just as good a position as a white man. Back then, they couldn't be.
Well, they did, because, you know, they had a black Republican in the Congress. So
was it Condoleezza Rice that you talking about?
Yeah,
I mean,
it
was during the Reconstruction era.
Oh, the Republicans were the first person to
the first party to
let black people in the politics.
The Democrats.
I think it still was like good and bad apples, but I feel like it was probably more people, you know.
But the Democrats are pushing this white supremacy narrative on us to keep us down.
Yeah, they're making it. They want black people to think that white people are against them and white supremacy.
That's why she's asking these stupid ass questions.
I believe they want all people of color to have that victim mentality. And personally, I just don't think that's gonna be productive. That's a conducive mentality that's conducive to success.
And that's why the things are getting upset, because like they've debunked this time after time again, and we have so many other problems that we need to fix, and we're not fixing them. And they ask him a stupid ass question like this. He has no time to answer a question like this. This man's supposed to be the president of the United States. You gonna ask him about a white supremacy? That's why it's insane.
I said this last night. Invidious racial discrimination is wrong no matter how it happens. But if a Washington Post reporter is asking me almost like a catechism, whatever question I said, I'm against invidious racial discrimination, whatever form it takes, but says, do you denounce white supremacy? It's incumbent on us for us to define what white supremacy is. And I wrote my book, Woke Inc., and I've written about the detailed understanding of what the popular understanding of these terms have come to mean. Do you believe punctuality is a vestige of white supremacy, Dasha?
Look,
because if you don't, then you have a disagreement about many of the people who are defining those terms, or the written word, or the use, or the nuclear family. These aren't my words. These are the words of intellectual proponents from Ibram Kendi to the Ayanna Presleys to BLM that have said these are vestiges of white supracy. So
Mr.
we can't have it both ways. We have to have an honest discussion.
Straw man arguments. Last night you brought up Jussie Smollett as the best example of white supremacy.
Was the hottest thing in news in the back of a fake actual attack on him that we have to contend with.
And yet you have examples like the Buffalo shooter in New York just in 2022.
You have other
examples. You are also cherry picking when you bring up Jussie Smollett.
I'll look at all of the statistics. More black on black crime. If you really care about actual crime against black Americans, let's get to the root causes of it in the inner cities of this country.
The Anti-Defamation League tracked a 38% increase in white supremacist propaganda last year.
Who's tracking that?
The Anti-Defamation League.
Yeah, the ADL, I don't think is a particularly credible source when they have cherry-picked information.
When we're talking about
I would suggest look at there's a table, 2x2 table. Federal law enforcement data, which you could say what you do. Maybe we shouldn't believe that either. But look at black on Asian crime, black on black crime,
the FBI
white on
hate
black
crime statistics. That's a law enforcement agency. 59.1% was based on race, ethnicity, and ancestry, saying hate crimes rose 12% between 2020 and 2021.
Look at the absolute crimes themselves. What they classify as a hate crime is itself a political judgment. I think that when you actually care about protecting life, if you want to say Black Lives Matter, let's look at where black lives are actually being lost. It's in the cities at the heart of other black Americans in prison.
And that's absolutely the issue that we talk about as well. But are we supposed to ignore white supremacist hate crimes?
We're not supposed to ignor any kind of crime, Dasha. That's what I say. But what I see is a selective reporting. Take the Nashville transgender.
I ain't
gonna lie. This might be a top 2-1, my boy. It might be a top 2-1, my boy. Yeah. He cooking bad on this one.
No, that was actually bars what he said, because he said if you go say Black Lives Matter, why does no one ever acknowledge black on black crime? Because you go when black people go to where black people are, are in the inner cities and black neighborhoods, who are you looking for? You're not looking for white supremacists to come attack you and steal from you. You're looking for another black person. And no one, I've heard people say that black on black crime is a myth. Unfortunately, I think that's nonsense.
Who said that?
I've seen a lot of people say that.
Have you ever went to a club?
I've seen a lot of people say that.
Whoever said
Take
that,
that boy to Baton Rouge.
Let's take them to the damn dirty.
Nah, he definitely cooks, but that is the biggest problem, bro. We don't want to address that. You know, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
I think that violence in the inner city only begets more violence, which creates more problems.
I just can't believe they're saying this shit.
So have y'all seen lately since they
white
kind of
supremacy is
pushed
still
back,
bad though. Obviously,
push back the police? We actually have
That's
seen
not their
crime
problem
actually
in
go
black on
up
black.
more.
Like where?
Like okay, look
Say
at
it again.
California, Philly, some cities that actually put back on the police. We seen more crime and more stuff happening in those communities that actually don't have help. So like, I don't see how they don't see this. Like
There's a direct correlation there.
Like how you don't see this right now. There is, some people that is racist.
That's what I'm saying. That's
There
still a
is some
problem.
people that
White supremacy is still I'm not gonna say it's non-existent. It's just not the biggest problem for black people. I think the biggest problem is black on black crime.
I think there's a lot of problems plaguing the black community, honestly.
I feel like
but I feel like just killing people.
61% of black kids are born fatherless. That's a huge problem as well. 60%, something like that.
well, we know what that
That means
is.
it's more common for a black kid to be born without a father than it is one to be born with one. Do you understand how crazy that is?
I don't know if
that's
this sounds
our culture.
crazy. I don't know if this sounds crazy. I don't know if
That's
this
pretty
relevant.
crazy.
But what if one side asks the Democrats, what do y'all think about black supremacy? Someone like Dr. Omar.
I don't understand. I don't think that's a real thing.
What? Black
supremacy? I don't think that's a real thing.
Apparently
I
Dr.
think
Omar it
that's
is.
I think that's actually
He said
ridiculous.
that.
Apparently,
I don't think he's ever said anything about black supremacy.
He wants black people to be above white people, and that's what white supremacy is.
I don't think he wants black people to be above white people. Has he said that?
Well, yeah, he wants, or he does.
I
Want
don't
them to
think
be
he's ever
grouped
said
together.
that. I don't think black
he
supremacy is a real
hasn't-
thing.
Yeah, he hasn't. Really
I think that's a
said
made
that,
up
I guess.
word.
But,
I've never heard
but
it.
he's still
Yeah.
racist, isn't he? Though.
Yeah, he's racist.
I would say he's.
I would say he is racist.
Yeah.
But you want someone to be.
But I mean, he said he doesn't have a problem with white people.
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
openly
so
said
he-
that.
But then he
Yeah.
also
He
said
said he's not against white people.
Nah, but he says he doesn't respect someone
well,
who
I thought
marries someone who's
racists are
white.
hate.
Yeah, he
So
said
if
he
you
said
said-
he doesn't
if you
respect
said-
people
hold
who
on.
marry out their
But
race.
if a white person said, "I don't respect a white person who marries a
they're gonna
black
call
person,"
that white supremacy.
well, they're gonna say they're racist.
Yeah.
Trump
So
has
it's a-
literally said some shit. He has literally.
Okay, well, if you apply that logic, then I would say he is a racist.
Like imagine you trying to marry some like a white girl, and then they people say, "If you marry him, I don't respect you no more." You would say that's a racist.
That is.
That's the same thing.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that.
That's why I said it's not black.
But I don't
he's
think
just
black
racist.
supremacy is a real thing.
Nah, he just
I don't
racist.
think he's a black supremacist
That's it.
at all.
Now, I actually never understood why some people would say the word woke. I thought I did, but this is actually
word what?
woke.
Oh.
This is actually insane.
Oh man, we see a lot of woke crap.
Fake woke bags
He
don't
been
care
said-
about
he
your
been said
feelings.
it.
That
He
was just
been
such a
said- We're
bar.
sorry to thank. Like, keep cooking, man.
Violence.
Between
Doctor.
2020 and 2021.
Look at the absolute crimes themselves. What they classify as a hate crime is itself a political judgment. I think that when you actually care about protecting life, if you want to say Black Lives Matter, let's look at where Black lives are actually being lost. It's in the cities, at the heart of other
And look-
Black Americans and criminals
and
that
that's
are
absolutely
restrained by
an
the
issue that we
absence of
talk about
retreating
as well.
police.
But are we
And
supposed
should
to
be.
ignore white supremacist hate crimes?
We're not supposed to ignore any kind of crime, Dasha. That's what I say. But what I see is a selective reporting. Take the Nashville Transgender Shooter Manifesto. Every shooter manifesto in a mass shooting has been released within 48 hours, except for that one shooter in Nashville. Now, it ended up being leaked. What do you see? It wasn't a white supremacist. It was somebody that was actually making fun of using derogatory terms. I believe.
Okay, so why are
cracker
you okay
was the
talking
term
about
that
that
was okay.
manifesto
Because the rest-
and not
it's
talking
not
about
that
the
I'm not
manifesto
okay.
from
I'm okay talking
the
about both.
2015
I'm
Dylan
more than
Roof
okay
shooting?
talking about both, but what I'm asking is why is the mainstream media suppress that one? Why did the police suppress that one? Why was that the one shooter manifesto that of all of the mass shootings, every other shooter manifesto has been released? I'm focused on that one because that's the one that's been hidden from us. And it comes back to the point of my candidacy and the way I'm going to run this country. Trust the people with the truth. If it doesn't match your narrative,
The reality is, right now,
I think the media did not hold the police
Republicans
accountable.
are
They would have been
actually
demanding that.
starting to
If
gain
that was-
ground, gain traction
that
with
was
the
a-
black community, with Latino
and-
voters.
and
Do
it's a
not
good
worry
thing.
that your
No, I
rhetoric is pushing them away. There are
No.
folks
To
the
in
contrary, I think we're going to
the
bring black
GOP
people
right now
into
who
this
are
movement.
concerned about your
Facts.
rhetoric.
Well, you know what? I'm
got
concerned
four
about
white
their
children.
corruption. If you had somebody who
3.5.
actually one of a prominent black influencer the other day, what did she say? I've been black my whole life, and this man could actually unify this country in response to a long exchange I had with a black pastor who had an event here in Iowa, did challenge me with a hard question, asking me, are my views against affirmative action How do those align with historical racial
Affirmative
injustice?
action is a debate that is being had.
If I may just finish
how
this.
Let me finish my
deal
point.
with racism.
I think I would be
but
better
you're denying that racism is a
I've
problem.
never denied that racism is a problem. And if you listen to the response I gave to that black pastor, my whole point is racism has been a major problem for most of our national history. But we're getting close to the promised land that Martin Luther King envisioned. We're as darn close to it as we ever have been.
Facts.
And so what bothers the heck out of me is it's right when we're close to that promised land. Martin Luther King said it, I may not get there with you, and he didn't get there with us. But I think it desecrates the legacy of our civil rights movement, desecrates the legacy of Martin Luther King, that right when we get closest to the point of having racial equality, and gender equality, and even opportunities for people of minorities of many types, are we perfect? No. But are we as close as we've ever been? Yes, we have. To then obsess over systemic racism,
Facts.
to then obsess over white guilt and otherwise,
Don't pause.
we're creating new waves of racism, Dasha, that we otherwise would have avoided right when we're closest to having achieved what even the proponents of the civil rights movement would have dreamed of. That's what bothers me. My exchange with that black pastor about a week or so ago, right here in Iowa, not far from where we are, it was in Indianola, not far from where we are in Des Moines, was that we're founded on the pursuit of a more perfect union. The pursuit of liberty, equality, and justice for all. And I reject this left-wing narrative that's creating more artificial division. So I believe I will bring more black and Hispanic voters into our movement, not by saying fake poll-tested slogans, but by speaking the hard truth that we've been imperfect in our past, but let us celebrate the progress we've made and reject the media's cherry-picking narratives to actually get to the truth of the matter. And now if we care about black lives, the things we're going to do isn't obsessing about white supremacy. It's actually fixing the problems in our cities, which I will do as our president.
Damn.
Oh my!
Hey, he be
He did a good
spitting, bro.
job.
This
Hey, I
man
can actually
be spitting,
stand
bro.
him. There.
Good job.
That is literally, I mean, like, it seems like he's saying everything you want to say, but it's like, he the
He
front
says it the
leader.
best way,
He
yeah.
the front leader. He gonna tell them how we feel, man. This
Yeah,
guy's
man.
actually,
Hey,
Vivek
to be
for
honest with
president. Vivek for president, y'all.
that might be
Vivek for
actually
president.
the best political video I've ever seen in my
I seen
entire
somebody
life.
said he's giving us like the new Obama effect.
That is actually insane.
They said
He does sound good.
They said he's finna
Obama
give
sounded
everybody.
good.
They said he's finna be the next Obama.
But
effect.
think about
I
Obama.
actually agree with a lot of things he said. I don't really like the way she tried to debunk it. She was getting all shrill and loud and talking over him. That's not how you conduct a discourse with someone. I wasn't really a fan of that.
I don't know how Obama brought racism back, but remember the guy in Zinc said
made it
Obama
racial
made
overnight.
it racial overnight.
No.
So after he
Not
said
him,
that,
I would say it was the fact that we had a black president. Everybody, that's what everybody started
And the
talking
fact
Yeah,
that
that's what I'm
his name
saying.
and the fact that his
might be
name is
it.
Barack
I
Hussein
don't know
Obama.
exactly what he did.
about. He ain't from America.
But
I don't know
just
what he
saying-
did to bring like racism back into the country.
I'm
Isn't
just saying,
Obama
it wasn't what he
biracial?
did.
A man
Isn't
that's
Obama biracial? Isn't that even crazier?
Yeah.
I feel like this man is literally saying everything that would be perfect for the country, and
Literally.
that y'all are trying to bring the man down
I think he does a great
by
job.
different narratives. It just mind blows me, bro. I never understood why one side. I did understand why one side could hate one side, but actually every day I'm seeing why y'all could hate these people, man. This shit's actually insane.
No, this physically do. This could boil your skin.
This just pisses me off.
Yeah,
man.
no, I just don't like the way they try to discredit him, and then when they get upset, they get people like her to crash and burn. This is the second woman
But y'all
that
realize-
he's been interviewed by that tries to
They trying
talk
to do that
over
on
him
purpose.
all the time. Like, it's crazy. I don't understand why
You wanna
they
go
even keep
around with
sending
that,
them.
man.
They trying to do that so they can put a headline. So they tweak out too bad.
Yeah, is that too
They
bad?
give
It's like-
them a headline to talk about.
This is affecting our people, so we should be the most upset about this.
This
You know,
was
and you
personal
know
to
the
us.
problem with the black
This one's very
community.
personal
I've
to us.
noticed the problem with the black community. I've noticed like I don't feel like as a whole. I'm not saying black people don't. I'm just saying as like a whole, like the majority don't really read media and take in things for themselves. So once
Yeah.
you get a bunch of clickbait titles and false narratives that are completely taken out of context and shown to people
Yeah.
who don't ingest media on their own, it's easy to sway their mentality a certain way.
That's definitely
And
a great
I
take.
definitely think that's what's happened with black people.
And they
Definitely a
shame
great
you.
take.
They shame you if you don't agree with them.
Yeah, black people
That
are
too.
actually the most notorious for that, and it's not to outwardly; it's to other black people.
Because we might.
There's a
I
lot
mean,
of division in the black community. I don't know if y'all know
Nigga,
this.
you ain't
the
black.
media makes
Yeah,
us
man,
look
there's a
like
lot of- there's a lot of
our
things
community
that-
is very
A
stupid.
lot
But
of identity politics within black people.
I feel like this shit can be easily seen through. Like,
Seriously.
I feel like a lot of black people could weed
How
through
are you
this
black
shit
and
if they
Republican?
just sat there and like really like understood what the fuck was going on. So you're all right, Brandon. They don't watch the media at all.
Bro, facts.
I was
It's-
a victim
then
of that shit.
Joe Biden says things. If you ain't black, if you don't vote for me, and then
That
black
messed me
people will
up.
look
That
you
was
in the
bad.
face. How are you black and Republican? How are
Hey,
you black
Trump,
and
I ain't gonna
conservative?
lie. That
How you
forever-
black and
Biden
like
not
Trump?
That messed me up when I first remember he came and said that. I said, "Did this?"
That's when I
say
first
that?
started thinking, man,
Did
I
this
don't know
nigga
if
just
I'm
say
rocking
that?
with these.
I didn't even
niggas
vote at
on the
all.
left, man. No, me either. I was like, I didn't want to vote at all.
See, but it's different when you
But
like.
now
I
I'm
did some
voting.
research.
When you really believe something and you just like misinformed, but when you know the truth and then you trying to push the narrative, it's kind of like that's sick. Man.
Bro, no. During 2020, the narrative was pushed so bad, bro.
But they know what's going
They
on.
gave us movies. They gave us videos.
They still doing
after
that, bro.
No, it wasn't, bro. During 2020,
Disney? Have you seen a Disney movie?
bro, it wasn't as bad.
Have you seen what's
When
the
we was
show? The
stuck
kid
in our
show?
rooms
What's the
and
kid
all we
show?
watching everything every day.
No, I'm talking about the left just pushing narratives with the media in general.
I remember how
What's the
bad it
kid
was,
show? The
2020?
baby show?
Oh, Baby Shark.
Coco Melon.
Yeah,
Melon.
Coco Melon. Oh, yeah.
That's insane, man.
You don't see no Coco Melon talking about some MAGA.
What kids can't
They got
vote.
little
They wanna
kids
do
with
that,
two
though.
dads
And
and
putting-
dresses on there.
Yeah, this actually makes
That's
me
what
throw
made
up.
American vote
That's
better.
saying go blue.
Yeah, this makes me want to throw up, guys. This is probably the best video I've ever seen, especially from here, for sure.
And I ain't talking about Michigan.
Let us know what y'all think out there, guys. We know what happened, man. Hey, they need to just don't even put him on with y'all no more. This is getting very ugly, man. He's exposing y'all every day.
Hey, he got a new badge, man. It's called a stutter badge. Every time they get to talking, they hit the.
He got the don't want to do a roast battle with him. Maybe I shouldn't have roasted him earlier.
I don't think that we realize how.
He's like, boy, you look like boy. Oh, dang.
Hey, I promise you that might get him some more votes. And we see Vivek
I don't think
in
the
a
people
row.
I
realize who
think that
this
would
guy
lose
is.
votes.
I don't think we
Yeah.
realized who he was. We sitting down with him. It seems like he just powering up more and more.
He's just
every
a
day.
very humble and down to earth dude. So when you with him, he just seems like he's regular. But
Yeah,
then
he's-
you see him on TV, but this nigga ain't regular.
All right, guys. Let us know what y'all think.
Good old American.